In the shadows of society, where law and order often give way to secrecy and ruthlessness, exist powerful crime syndicates that have left an indelible mark on history. Today, we look at the most powerful mafias in 2023. These families have mastered the art of wielding their resources, intellect, and connections to navigate the complex tapestry of modern society. From the boardrooms of multinational corporations to the corridors of political power, their presence is felt in every corner of the globe. But what truly sets these families apart isn't just their wealth, it's their ability to leave an indelible mark on the world around them. The Russian Mafia. Diving into the shadows of organized crime, we enter a world where secrecy, ruthlessness, and power reign supreme. Originating in the turbulent aftermath of the Soviet Union, the Russian Mafia, known as Rossiyskaya Mafia in Russian or simply Bratva, meaning brotherhood, has emerged as a formidable and complex force in the criminal underworld. This collective of organized crime elements has its roots deep within the history of the former Soviet territories and has evolved into a global phenomenon with a reach that spans continents. The Russian Mafia's history can be traced back to the Russian Empire, but it wasn't until the Soviet era that vori v zakon, or thieves-in-law, rose to prominence within the forced labor camps. These figures became the leaders of prison groups, creating an intricate honor code that would shape the mafia's identity. The aftermath of World War II, the demise of Joseph Stalin, and the collapse of the Soviet Union ushered in a new era where the black market flourished. Amid the power vacuum and unstable governments in the former republics, numerous criminal groups began to exploit the opportunities, giving birth to what would become one of the most feared and dangerous criminal organizations in the world. By the mid-1990s, the Russian Mafia had garnered international attention, with former FBI Director Louis Freeh labeling it as the most significant threat to U.S. national security. With thousands of groups operating, some with a global reach, the organization's structure was diverse. Members hailed from different backgrounds: ex-prison inmates, corrupt officials, business leaders, and individuals with shared ethnic or regional ties, all bound by a common thread of criminal experiences. The Russian Mafia's impact extends beyond its borders, and while disputes about the existence of an organized global network persist, experts like Timur Lakonin, the head of the Russian National Central Bureau of Interpol, acknowledged the presence of crime involving former compatriots abroad. French criminologist Alain Bauer described it as a remarkably well-structured criminal organization in Europe, functioning with a quasi-military precision. Drawing parallels with the Italian Mafia, the Russian Mafia adopted a similar organizational model and engaged in a comparable range of criminal activities. However, the unique environment of post-Soviet Russia provided distinct opportunities for expansion. Rampant political corruption and arms trading facilitated its growth, with government officials becoming intertwined with criminal syndicates. The Russians also ventured into more unconventional avenues such as uranium trading, stemming from stolen Soviet nuclear material and human trafficking. As we navigate the intricate history of the Russian Mafia, it becomes evident that its legacy is one of power, danger, and adaptability. Its influence remains a significant force to be reckoned with, reminding us of the complexities that surround the underbelly of society. From its origins within Soviet labor camps to its evolution into a global powerhouse, the Russian Mafia's story is a testament to the enduring allure of power and the lengths some are willing to go to attain it. The roots of Russian organized crime trace back to the imperial period of Russia, originating as banditry and thievery in the early 18th century. At that time, most of the population consisted of impoverished peasants, and criminals who stole from government entities gained a Robin Hood-like reputation as protectors of the poor, becoming folk heroes. Over time, these criminals formed the Vorovskoy Mir, or thieves' world, creating a code of conduct based on loyalty to each other and opposition against the government. During the early 1900s, even Joseph Stalin was involved in criminal activities, forming his own armed squads and engaging in various criminal endeavors. However, the landscape of organized crime significantly transformed during Stalin's reign. Millions of people were sent to gulags, Soviet labor camps, where powerful criminals rose to become thieves-in-law, or vorami v zakone. These elite criminals distinguished themselves through intricate tattoos, which are still used by Russian mobsters today. The aftermath of World War II and the collapse of the Soviet Union provided a fertile ground for the growth of organized crime in Russia. As the country transitioned to a free market economy, criminal groups began to take over various sectors, often through insider deals, bribery, and force. The privatization of state-owned assets led to the rise of powerful business businessmen and criminal organizations who employed private armies for protection and intimidation. Contract killings became common as a means to settle disputes and enforce agreements. The internationalization of Russian organized crime escalated in the 1990s. The fall of the Soviet Union paved the way for criminal groups to establish footholds in other countries, with the Camorra in Italy and Colombian drug cartels among their collaborators. Mikhail Gorbachev's policies loosened restrictions on private businesses, allowing them to flourish, but the chaotic environment also marked the end of the Soviet Union. The collapse created an atmosphere where criminal enterprises could thrive, often with former KGB agents and Afghan war veterans contributing their skills to crime bosses. One of the most significant figures in the Russian Mafia's history was Vyacheslav Yaponchik Ivankov, who arrived in the United States in 1992. He quickly established an international operation involving narcotics, money laundering, prostitution, and connections with the American Mafia and Colombian drug cartels. His reign marked a shift in power dynamics and led to violent clashes with other criminal groups. Russian organized crime continued to expand globally, infiltrating over 50 countries and boasting hundreds of thousands of members by the early 2000s. The structure of the Russian Mafia is characterized by its lack of a rigid hierarchy, which gives it a distinct advantage in evading law enforcement efforts to dismantle it. The title of Vor is highly respected and given to individuals who demonstrate exceptional leadership skills, intellect, and charisma. The Russian Mafia's influence remains potent, with various crime bosses rising to power and others being released from prison over the years. Its activities continue to encompass a wide range of criminal endeavors, from drug trafficking and money laundering to extortion and violence. Despite efforts by law enforcement agencies around the world to combat its influence, the Russian Mafia's ability to adapt and thrive in different environments has cemented its status as a resilient and enduring force within the criminal underworld. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine led to the physical obstruction of criminal networks as frontline combat and checkpoints emerged as significant obstacles. Moreover, the war ignited a strong sense of patriotism among many in Ukraine, including those involved in criminal activities. Criminals who were once part of this underworld found themselves compelled by the us against them sentiment, leading some to sever ties with Russian counterparts and contribute to the war effort or charitable causes. Yet the complexity of criminal dynamics remains. While some criminals claim to have cut all ties with Russians and embrace their patriotic duties, others exploit the war for personal gain. Criminals can manipulate their involvement in the war to improve their public image or gain leniency from authorities. The Yakuza. Deeply embedded in the criminal underworld of Japan, the Yakuza, also known as Gokudo, have long fascinated the world with their intricate codes, rituals, and enduring presence. These transnational organized crime syndicates originating in Japan wield a complex influence on society and maintain a reputation for their organized fiefdom nature and unique practices. The Yakuza's origins date back to their establishment as secretive groups with strict codes of conduct and a sense of chivalry, as they refer to themselves as Ninkyo Dantai, meaning chivalrous organizations. The Japanese police and media, at the request of law enforcement, call them Boryokudan, translating to violent groups. However, their activities extend far beyond the surface level of these names, and the Yakuza have garnered attention for their distinctive practices and iconic appearances. Members of the Yakuza are often portrayed as individuals with heavily tattooed bodies and an unconventional attire that may include fundoshi, kimonos, or even Western-style sharp suits. Their distinct appearance serves as a visible marker of their affiliation with the criminal syndicate. The Yakuza are also known for their involvement in an array of criminal activities, maintaining a diverse portfolio of enterprises that extends beyond borders. Throughout their history, the Yakuza maintained a significant presence in the Japanese media and expanded their operations internationally. However, their numbers have seen a drastic decline over the years, influenced by changing market opportunities and legal developments aimed at discouraging Yakuza membership growth. From a peak of 184,100 members and quasi-members in 1963, the Yakuza's strength dwindled to 11,400 members and 11,000 quasi-members by 2022. One of the defining factors contributing to this decline is the aging demographic of Yakuza members. The reluctance of young individuals to join their ranks has led to an aging membership, with more than half of the members being 50 years old or older. This aging trend reflects the changing perceptions of younger generations towards organized crime and the evolving social landscape of Japan. Despite Despite these challenges, the Yakuza continue to engage in various criminal activities, sparking concern among Japanese citizens about the threat they pose to public safety. While Japan has not implemented a strict prohibition on Yakuza membership, legislative measures have been enacted to curb their revenue streams and increase accountability for their criminal actions. As the Yakuza navigate changing times and societal shifts, their legacy remains deeply intertwined with Japan's history and culture. The Yakuza's enigmatic presence, strict codes, and complex dynamics serve as a reminder of the intricate relationship between crime and society, leaving an indelible mark on Japan's criminal landscape. The origins of the Yakuza are shrouded in the intricate history of Japan, emerging from the distinctive social classifications of the mid-Edo period, 1603-1868. This period gave rise to two fundamental groups that would lay the foundation for modern Yakuza syndicates, the Takiya and the Bakuto. Takiya, often referred to as peddlers, occupied one of the lowest social strata during the Edo period. These individuals were primarily engaged in peddling illicit, stolen, or substandard goods. As these peddlers began to organize into groups, they took on administrative responsibilities related to commerce, such as allocating stalls and ensuring the protection of their commercial endeavors. During Shinto festivals, they even provided security services for the stalls. This marked the beginning of the Takiya's transformation into a hierarchical and structured entity. Within the Takiya, a clear hierarchy emerged, with the boss, known as Oyabun, at the top and gang members, known as Kobun, at the bottom. This hierarchical structure mirrored traditional family dynamics, with the Oyabun serving as a surrogate father figure and the Kobun as surrogate children. Notably, during the Edo period, the government officially recognized the Takiya, granting Oyabun supervisors a status akin to near samurai, complete with a surname and the privilege of carrying two swords. On the other hand, the Bakuto, known as gamblers, occupied an even lower social standing due to the illegality of gambling during this period. They operated small gambling houses in abandoned temples or shrines on the outskirts of towns, often engaging in loan sharking to maintain their enterprises. Both the gambling houses and the Bakuto themselves were widely looked down upon by society. It is from this group that the Yakuza acquired much of their undesirable reputation, and even the term Yakuza finds its origin in this context. The mid-Edo period saw an economic climate that fueled the rise of Yakuza groups composed of misfits and delinquents. These individuals sought to exploit local markets by selling counterfeit or substandard goods, taking advantage of the burgeoning merchant class. Their origins were far from glamorous. They were propelled by the need to survive and thrive in a challenging environment. Shimizu Jirocho, a renowned Yakuza boss and folk hero, embodied the intrigue and fascination surrounding the Yakuza. His life and exploits became the subject of numerous films between 1911 and 1940, cementing his status as Japan's most famous Yakuza. The legacy of the Yakuza's origins lives on through initiation ceremonies that incorporate Takiya and Bakuto rituals. While the modern Yakuza have diversified their activities, some groups still identify with one of these foundational groups. The Yakuza's historical roots serve as a reminder of the complexity of crime, society, and cultural dynamics, leaving an indelible mark on Japan's criminal landscape. The Five New York Families. The term Five Families holds a profound and enduring place in the annals of organized crime, particularly within the complex tapestry of Italian-American Mafia syndicates operating within the heart of New York City. These five dominant families, Bonanno, Colombo, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese, have etched their names into history as the foundational pillars of the American criminal underworld. Their stories, interwoven with power struggles, criminal enterprises, and cultural influences, continue to captivate the collective imagination of both the general public and popular media. The roots of the five families delve back into the aftermath of the Castellamarese War, an intense and deadly power struggle between Joe Masseria and Salvatore Maranzano that left the Mafia's landscape fractured and tumultuous. In 1931, Maranzano's faction orchestrated the daring assassination of Masseria, creating a pivotal turning point that laid the foundation for the eventual formation of these potent families. Guided by the strategic leadership of figures like Lucky Luciano, Maranzano set about reorganizing the Mafia hierarchy, designating the Luciano, Gagliano, Mangano, Maranzano, and Profaci outfits as the five families that would come to define an era. This marked the inception of their structured power dynamics, complete with bosses, underbosses, lieutenants, and soldiers, a hierarchy that would propel them into prominence through their unlawful activities. Operating under the directive of their respective bosses, these families entrenched their influence through a spectrum of illegal endeavors, ranging from loan sharking, gambling, and extortion, to the monopolization of labor unions. Maranzano's audacious self-proclamation as the boss of all bosses was emblematic of his bid to establish his overarching authority across the entire mafia landscape. Originally known as the Maranzano crime family, the Bonanno family underwent a significant transformation when Salvatore Maranzano was assassinated in 1931. Joseph Bonanno assumed leadership and the family took on his name. However, their journey was far from straightforward, yet the family managed to reclaim its position in the New York underworld, largely under the leadership of Joseph Massino. During his tenure, the Bonanno family made a triumphant return to the commission, reasserting their status as one of the most powerful crime families in the country. In the tapestry of New York City's 5 major families, the Colombo family emerges as the youngest, founded in 1928. Stemming from bootlegger Joseph Profaci, who initially ruled unchallenged until the 1950s, the Colombo family's history is marked by internal wars and leadership changes. Their trajectory was shaped by a series of tumultuous events, including Joe Gallo's revolt in the 1950s, the assassination of Joseph Colombo in 1971, and the power struggle ignited by acting boss Victor Orina's bid to take over from imprisoned leader Carmine Persico in 1991. With a fluid leadership history and an estimated membership of 90 to 110 individuals, the Colombo family's territories span across Long Island, parts of New York, Massachusetts, and South Florida. Authorities have noted that compared to their counterparts, the Colombo family is considered the weakest among the 5 families. The Gambino family, named after Carlo Gambino, traces its roots to 1910 and underwent several leadership changes before Carlo Gambino became its prominent figure in 1963. Following the turbulence of the Castellamarese War, during which the family kept a low profile, their fortunes shifted in 1957 with the assassination of their leader Albert Anastasia, ostensibly orchestrated by Carlo Gambino. Under his reign, the Gambino family rose to become the most powerful among the 5 families. The Gambino family's narrative is also interwoven with the notorious John Gotti, one of the most infamous bosses in history. With an estimated membership of 180 to 200 individuals, the family's influence extends from New York City to Los Angeles and Las Vegas. Their criminal activities encompass labor and construction racketeering, gambling, prostitution, money laundering, and extortion, among other charges. Originally founded in 1931 by Charles Lucky Luciano and later renamed after Vito Genovese, the Genovese family stands as the oldest and most extensive among the 5 families. They have wielded their influence not only over their own operations, but also over smaller mob families, including the Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Patriarca crime families. The Genovese family, with an estimated 100 to 220 members and around 3,000 associates, capitalized on modern opportunities, utilizing the housing bubble and the internet to engage in activities like mortgage frauds and illegal gambling rings. Their reputation for control and organization endured even after the death of their longtime boss, Vincent the Chin Gigante, in 2005. Despite their evolving landscape, the Genovese family is still deemed the most potent and structured criminal family in the United States. Founded by Gaetano Reina in the early 1920s, the Lucchese family was a relatively low-profile syndicate, operating primarily in the Bronx, Manhattan, and New Jersey under his rule and that of his successor, Tommy Gagliano. However, it was under underboss Tommy Lucchese's leadership that the family underwent a significant transformation, becoming one of the most powerful on the commission. Collaborating closely with the Gambino family, they gained control over the garment industry. However, the family's tranquility took a violent turn with Victor, a Musso's ascent, leading them down a path of internal conflict and infighting during the 1980s. With an estimated membership of 90 to 100 individuals and over 1,000 associates, the Lucchese family's history is also marked by its fair share of informants. In the 1990s, a number of Lucchese members turned to the police, culminating in the arrest of the entire hierarchy and exposing the internal workings of the family. In this intricate tapestry of crime, power, and intrigue, each of the 5 families contributed their own unique chapter, shaping the landscape of organized crime in New York City and beyond. The 5 families have transcended mere criminal notoriety to leave an indelible imprint on American culture. Their narratives have been immortalized in iconic films such as The Godfather series, Goodfellas, and Donnie Brasco, which delve into themes of power, loyalty, and treachery. Television shows like The Sopranos and Boardwalk Empire offer further explorations into the enigmatic lives of these criminal syndicates. Laosa Nostra. La Cosa Nostra, the Sicilian Mafia's hidden world of honor and power. La Cosa Nostra, a term translating to "our thing" in English, is the clandestine moniker that veils the operations of the Sicilian Mafia, also known simply as the Mafia. This criminal society, rooted in the historic island of Sicily, has woven a legacy of power, intrigue, and criminal enterprise since the 19th century. While the term Mafia might evoke a sense of organized crime, La Cosa Nostra's activities are far more complex, encompassing a web of protection racketeering, dispute arbitration, and the orchestration of illicit agreements and transactions. At its core, La Cosa Nostra operates through distinct units referred to as families, clans, or coscas. Each family asserts control over a specific territory, often a town, village, or neighborhood within a larger city, where they orchestrate their criminal endeavors. The members adopt the title Men of Honor, though the public commonly refers to them as mafiosi. As time passed, the influence of La Cosa Nostra extended beyond Sicily's borders due to emigration, giving rise to mafioso-style gangs in regions such as Australia, the United Kingdom, Canada, the United States, and South America. These diaspora-based groups maintain the traditions and methods of their Sicilian forebears to varying degrees. The term Cosa Nostra serves as the authentic appellation. Within the Mafia's inner circle, Joseph Valachi, an Italian-American mafioso, unveiled this name during his testimony before the U.S. Senate Committee on Government Operations in 1963. Valachi disclosed that American mafiosi used the term Cosa Nostra to refer to their organization, signifying "our thing" or "this thing of ours." However, the FBI, in conjunction with the media, popularized the term La Cosa Nostra. Interestingly, in Italy, the article "la" is omitted when referring to Cosa Nostra. Mafia defector Tommaso Buscetta confirmed in 1984 that Cosa Nostra was employed by the Sicilian Mafia itself. The term Mafia, he contended, was a mere literary invention. Other informants, including Antonino Calderone and Salvatore Contorno, validated the usage of Cosa Nostra among members. When introducing one another, mafiosi commonly convey that someone belongs to Cosa Nostra or La Stessa Cosa, the same thing, signifying kinship within the world of organized crime. Throughout its existence, the Sicilian Mafia has employed diverse names to define itself, including the Honored Society. Among themselves, mafiosi adopt the titles Men of Honor or Men of Respect. It is essential to differentiate Cosa Nostra from other mafia-like entities in southern Italy, such as the 'Ndrangheta in Calabria, the Camorra in Campania, or the Sacra Corona Unita and Società Foggiana in Apulia. In its early days, Leopoldo Franchetti depicted the Sicilian Mafia as an industry of violence. Decades later, Diego Gambetta, an Italian sociologist, portrayed it as a consortium of private protection firms. He characterized mafiosi as guarantors of trust, asserting that due to inherent distrust among Sicilian people, they often seek mafia protection in their business transactions. The mafia's central role revolves around settling disputes and enforcing illicit agreements through violence. Unlike the police, the mafia serves specific clients who compensate them for safeguarding their interests. La Cosa Nostra embodies a distinct structure. Rather than being a centralized organization, it functions as a coalition of autonomous criminal gangs operating under a shared brand. This coalition asserts exclusive control over the extra-legal protection market in their territories, distinguishing themselves from common criminals. The term mafia provided a fitting identity for this class of violent criminals, and its distinctiveness from run-of-the-mill criminals in other countries was fitting given its unique character within Sicilian society. The threads of honor, secrecy, and power weave together to form the complex tapestry of La Cosa Nostra. Its narrative showcases the intricate interplay of tradition and evolution, legality and criminality, making it a phenomenon that continues to captivate and intrigue people worldwide. Picture yourself in 19th century Sicily, a land undergoing major changes. Feudalism, where the nobility controlled everything, was on the way out. The rich landowners were selling their properties to regular folks, giving them a taste of land ownership. This led to a surge in landowners from just 2,000 to 20,000 by 1861. Sicily joined the rest of Italy in the 1860s, but with this union came a mix of problems. The transition to capitalism was a struggle, and there were not enough cops to maintain law and order. Criminals had a field day, and a new kind of law enforcement was needed. Enter the mafia, not as we know it from movies, but more like groups of protectors and problem solvers. They started as companies at arms, gathering ex-bandits and former criminals to help protect people's properties. These early groups eventually grew into the mafia as we understand it. The mafia, at first, helped maintain order in the midst of chaos. They also got involved in things like citrus farming and cattle ranching. They protected fragile citrus plantations from sabotage and helped recover stolen cattle better than the police could. Around 1865, the word mafia was officially used to describe this secret society. As Italy's government tried to crush the growing crime, the mafia started branching out to more lucrative businesses, like smuggling and eventually drugs. By the 1970s, they were smuggling cigarettes, and the heroin trade became a goldmine for them. They had their hands in various pies, and their influence spread. They even carried out violent attacks to show their power and control, but the government fought back. The Maxi trial in the 1980s put hundreds of mafiosi on trial, revealing their inner workings and leading to hundreds of convictions. This marked a turning point in the battle against the Mafia. However, the Mafia fought back, assassinating judges and officials who stood against them. This led to a period of violence and instability, yet it also sparked a fierce crackdown by the government, leading to the arrest of powerful bosses like Salvatore Riina. In recent years, the Mafia's influence has waned, especially in the drug trade, where other criminal groups took over. While they're not as powerful as before, the Mafia still has its fingers in various pies, from gambling to extortion. Their story is one of twists and turns, a battle between law and order, power and justice. From their beginnings as protectors to their foray into crime, the history of the Sicilian Mafia is a captivating journey through time, revealing the complex interplay between society, crime, and the pursuit of power. Albanian Mafia. The Albanian Mafia, also known as Albanian organized crime or Mafia Shqiptare in Albanian, constitutes a formidable and far-reaching criminal network originating from Albania or comprised of individuals with Albanian heritage, operating across multiple continents including Europe, North America, South America, and beyond. The Albanian Mafia has earned a reputation for engaging in a diverse range of illicit activities. From drug trafficking and arms smuggling to human exploitation, their criminal enterprises display a remarkable level of complexity and adaptability. At the heart of the Albanian Mafia's influence is its intricate association with the 'Ndrangheta, a powerful Italian organized crime syndicate. This strategic alliance has enabled the Albanian Mafia to assert significant control over the European wholesale cocaine market, including pivotal distribution points like London. Characterized by its intricate and diversified criminal endeavors, the Albanian Mafia showcases a capacity for sophisticated and versatile criminal operations. Within Albania, the Albanian Mafia is comprised of numerous familial groups, with more than 15 prominent families overseeing various criminal domains. However, their impact extends well beyond the nation's borders, as evidenced by their global reach spanning from the Middle East to South America. Reports also indicate a complex interplay between the Albanian Mafia and political spheres, underscoring its hybrid nature that straddles both criminal and political landscapes. Blending conventional mafia attributes with contemporary criminal strategies, the Albanian Mafia operates as a multifaceted criminal entity. Its internal structure is characterized by strict discipline, clan-based hierarchies, and a tendency towards endogamous marriages that strengthen organizational cohesion. Simultaneously, the Mafia demonstrates a capacity for transnational operations, commercial ventures, and a distinctive criminal service culture. This adaptability has facilitated the expansion of the Albanian Mafia's influence beyond Albania, allowing for integration with local criminal networks. In the United States, the concept of the Albanian Mafia encompasses diverse Albanian American criminal groups, some of which are directly connected to their European counterparts. From the Rudaj organization to the Albanian Boys, these groups operate within the American landscape, with varying degrees of affiliation to the broader Albanian Mafia network. Through intricate criminal undertakings, international connections, and a hybrid organizational nature, the Albanian Mafia has established itself as a noteworthy player within the global spectrum of organized crime. The Albanian Mafia stands as a significant player in the realm of transnational organized crime, with its influence reaching far beyond Albania's borders. This powerful criminal network has established a web of trafficking networks and criminal activities that span multiple regions, including North Africa, Europe, and beyond. Its operations are characterized by discipline, professionalism, and connections that enable it to collaborate swiftly with other criminal organizations, both within and outside its network. The Albanian Mafia's presence has notably surged in Europe, with countries like Germany, Belgium, Spain, Greece, France, and Britain experiencing the effects of its criminal endeavors. Its activities encompass a wide range of illicit enterprises, from drug trafficking to human smuggling. Collaborations with Latin American drug cartels, which provide a steady supply of cocaine for smuggling into Europe, underscore the Mafia's extensive reach and adaptability. One of the distinguishing features of the Albanian Mafia is its entrenchment within corrupt systems. The Mafia has capitalized on weaknesses within various institutions, corrupting civil servants and officials to facilitate its criminal operations. years. This level of corruption has made tackling the mafia's influence a complex challenge, as it operates with a degree of impunity due to its manipulation of these systems. The migration crisis in Europe is one area where the Albanian mafia's impact is acutely felt. The mafia has established trafficking networks across North Africa and the Balkans, controlling migratory routes and transit camps. Its expansion into northern France has contributed to the surge in small boat crossings across the English Channel. In return for facilitating migrants' journeys across the Channel, the mafia recruits them into their growing drugs industry upon reaching their destination. The exploitation of migrants and the blending of human trafficking with criminal enterprises underline the mafia's ruthless and opportunistic nature. The influence of the Albanian mafia isn't confined to the real world. It has also made its mark in various forms of media. In the virtual realm, the Albanian mob appears prominently in the 2008 video game Grand Theft Auto I4 and its expansion packs. This virtual version of the Albanian mob operates within the fictional Liberty City, mirroring New York City. They're active in districts like Hove Beach and Little Bay, engaging in a range of criminal activities such as loan sharking, extortion, stick-ups, and credit card fraud. In the game's storyline, they serve as hired muscle for more powerful criminal groups, particularly the Ancelotti crime family. In the game's early stages, they play the role of primary antagonists until the player's actions lead to their leader's demise. As the story progresses, the player is tasked with disrupting the Albanian mob's partnership with the Ancelotti family through various strategic attacks. Outside of the gaming world, the Albanian Mafia has also inspired storylines in films and TV series. The film franchise Taken features a fictional Albanian mafia that specializes in illegal sex trafficking. The main protagonist's daughter falls victim to their operations, leading to the franchise's intense and action-packed plot. These portrayals in popular media highlight the far-reaching impact of the Albanian Mafia beyond its real-world operations. They serve as captivating subjects for narratives that explore crime, intrigue, and the challenges faced by law enforcement in countering their activities. From the cold streets of Moscow to the bustling markets of Tokyo, the vibrant neighborhoods of New York, the rugged alleys of Sicily, and the hidden corners of Albania, these criminal empires have navigated through time, adapting and evolving in their pursuit of power and wealth. But as their stories unfold, one can't help but be drawn into the intricate web of alliances, betrayals, and audacious operations. As we delved into the hearts of these criminal syndicates, we witnessed the human capacity for both creation and destruction, for camaraderie and treachery. If you enjoy videos like this and love to find out about the most sinister crimes happening around the world, feel free to click on the video shown on your screen to get an inside look into the world of crime.